Let's talk about downtime in tabletop role-playing games. What is downtime in a tabletop role-playing game? Well, you'll encounter in games like D&D, where there's not just a 1 or 2 gaming session adventure. There can be campaigns. Campaigns can go on for months or years. And during that time, you're going to be on an adventure. You're going to be doing things that are related to goals that your character has. But at a certain point, you take a time out from running around with the character, because you'll be running around with the character a lot. So there may be you're on the adventure, but to complete the whole thing, there's going to be a time out where you got to go back to the town for a month or 2 months, right? And during the 2 months, there's nothing really going on. So it's really on the player to decide what they want to do with their character over that 2 months. And that 2 months is your downtime. I could try to give you advice about how to handle downtime, but I'll simply tell you how I handle downtime, and if you get something out of that, good. Well, before we get to downtime, I like to make sure that we're ending a session, back on that adventure part where it's coming to an end. I never want to be like halfway through a session and then we start downtime. So I want to make sure I have enough stuff to lead up to, the end of a session where I know the next week or, a couple weeks down the road, we're going to be starting a session where we're in that downtime. Now, do I just skip the downtime? Do we just do some dice rolls and we do that for the first few minutes of the new session and then we go right back to the adventure? Well, no, I would prefer to spend an actual gaming session on downtime. So what I'll do between the sessions, I'll have players, inform me about what they want to do with their characters over, a possible month or 2, right? So I'll definitely make sure there's some hints, some idea of how much time will pass so the players know what's up. So then they can come up with a game plan for what they want to do with their characters. What I do with that information is set up things that we can do over the 2 months. So I'll be doing a little bit of time jumping, like maybe a couple days here and there, leading up to the moments where the player wants to do something with their character, directly. They want to go meet up with somebody, get training done, find an item they've been looking for, or maybe even start a business, right? But the activity leading up to that won't happen right away. So when we get to that point, we'll stop that time jump. We'll pause right there. And then we go into the game where they can go do interaction with people. We can do that role play and we can get that sorted out. And then when the player is really satisfied about, the deal they made and they're ready to move forward, well, it's time to really pause there. And I'll do that with each character, with the different players. Go through these different scenes, make sure everybody knows it's a downtime session, so the idea that everybody's like active at the same time, it's not going to be the same. That's not going to be the case. It's not going to be like other gaming sessions. So there's a little bit of more, like there's more being loose at the table. Other players can get up and go do something if they have to during the time, say, a player is role-playing with their character, if the other characters are not in those scenes. But either way, we're going to have some fun. We're actually going to game. Like, we're going to role play that out. Find out what they need to do to start the business or find the item or meet up with the person they've been looking for to get certain information. Now, I'll make that something. And during that time, anything can happen. I'm a little out there. I'm a little crazy, right? So you might think during downtime, there can't be a combat encounter in the town during downtime. Well, don't underestimate me. You never know who you're going to run into. And the next thing you know, you're in a combat encounter in the middle of a town during a downtime session. Or maybe somehow you end up under a church, running into traps, the whole nine. There might even be a treasure there, and it's just in the town, and you're running into this thing during downtime. Because I'm a little out there. I'm a little crazy, right? I don't want just the session to just be what the players want to do, because we might run out of things. And I like to be random. It doesn't mean there's a guarantee that something's going to be there like that. There's never a guarantee. There's never. I don't roll dice to decide. I just feel it out. I'm putting something together and I go, I feel like there should be something there and they could encounter it. Okay, if I feel that, if it comes to me, Well, I might put it in. I'll definitely measure the thought out and make sure it's a reasonable thing to put in, but then I'll go ahead and do that. Now, if you're an experienced player in my game, you know that I'm fucking crazy, right? And that you can't predict what I'm going to do. And I like that. I like that I'm an unpredictable game master, so you never know what the fuck you're going to run into. No matter how safe you feel, you're never really safe. Now, on very rare occasions, I put enough in there that we can get more than one session out of downtime. But if you don't have that much material, what you really want is to make sure downtime ends at the end of the downtime session. Just keep in mind that downtime is something like adventuring, right? Like on the road. You know, on the road, you don't have to sit there and go through each day and see what the characters are doing every day. But when the characters might go do something like hunt or look for something, or they're going to camp, you'll slow down that, time push, and you'll go in. You'll focus in on the characters, and some roleplay happens. Well, that's going to happen during downtime. You want to make sure if there's just time where people or the characters are not going to be using that time, go ahead and just say those days go by, or that week goes by, or those weeks go by, right? Let that happen, right? But then you want to focus in on when the characters are going to go do something. Don't try to run downtime like you got a month of time and you're going to run every single day. No, you wouldn't do that, say, if you had them adventuring on the road. Don't do it in the town. So just time jump to where you need to. And then when things start playing out, let them play out. Don't go in with a plan that the player is going to do this, this, or this. You just know what they want to do with the character. You have some ideas. You might even set up a couple non-player characters or locations, and then you go into it, right? Really, downtime is a place where you can really, practice improvising. Because, it's going to open the door when players are running into stuff. They're going to come up with ideas. They're going to want to pitch stuff at you. So if you do downtime, be ready to improvise. Even if you don't want to, you're probably going to be put into a corner where you're going to have to try, because you never really know how players are going to react. It's true for every part of the game. But when you get to downtime, it will shock you what players might start pitching at you. So be ready. Be ready to wing it in that situation. And that's it. That's really all you have to do. And then, the 2 months are covered. You have allowed the characters or the players to do with the characters what they want it to do. And who knows how that worked out. Dice rolls, role play, that's all decided that. But here you are at the end of the 2 months, and you can get right back to the adventure, to whatever you have set up. That's it. Downtime is pretty easy. And in most cases, you won't face downtime if you're running a shorter game, like an adventure that might be a few sessions long, right? Or maybe a one-shot. Downtime won't even really exist there in this way. So you're really only going to run into it if you're playing something like a campaign that you would encounter in a D&D game. Anyway, for now, take care. You know what you can do? You can hit the like button. You can share the video. Oh, and there's another button you can press. That one that lets you subscribe to my channel for more content. Oh yeah, there's that bell thing. You can press that so you know when I've uploaded a new video right away.